Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Jay Gray from Powerhouse Recovery Group. Hey, this is the first day since Note Camp finished up, and I'm sure many of you out there are really wondering what the next steps are. I'm making this video today because I wanted to touch base with many of you who may be kind of on information overload, and I wanted to really help you kind of focus in on what your next steps should be. So the video is going to be primarily about figuring out where tomorrow, what's on tomorrow's list, what's on next week's list, and kind of help you break down these gigantic elephant-sized problems into bite-sized solutions and goals that you can fix and solve on your own. I'll do a little bit of video on screen here later about goal setting, breaking these systems and processes down into smaller steps, and helping you get a good feel for what you need to do as a potential note investor if you want to move forward and be competent at this some weeks or months down the line. And remember what Chase said last night: the bigger your goal is, the bigger you've got to budget time to achieve that goal. And that's super important, and I want you guys to understand that, because while we have the ability to look at all this stuff on the web and watch these videos and see these people be successful, you have to remember where you're at now and where you're going to be at that level. What you need to be and what you need to know to be at that level is pretty far out there, and you need to make sure that you've kind of got a good sense of what your next steps need to be. So this video that I'm going to do for you has a lot to do with goal setting and what you need to know, what you need to have, and what you need to be able to show potential sellers in order to get to that spot. So anyway, enjoy. All right, everybody, here's the video I was talking about. One of the goal planning steps that I use is kind of break down everything that you need to do into bite-sized pieces. And here's kind of the thinking process that I use to kind of figure out what I'm doing with these notes, particularly the step-by-step, day-to-day stuff that needs to happen. So this is the big picture overview, and this is how you should probably take a look at what you need to do. But this is just in my planner. I just drew a little stair step like this, one step at a time. I drew a reverse view, version of this, but the concept still works. So what do we want to do at the end of the day? We want to be able to close notes to make a profit, right? In order to close notes, what do we need to do? We need to make offers, correct? And if we're going to do that, we need to have capital ready at the standby or in our bank account. In order to do that, either we have cash on hand or we need to find investors to joint venture with. If we're going to do that, we need to show deals to these investors. And in order to show these deals, we need to have a competent system to be able to handle the due diligence and the risk analysis, and then have deals to show. So we need to find sources. And if we're going to do that, we probably ought to have a mentor or somebody we can talk to network with to find these deals. And if we're going to be taken seriously by anybody, the first thing almost anybody does if someone says, hey, I'd like to become a note investor, is what do? They have a digital footprint, whether that's LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. Sometimes you need to have a PowerPoint that shows some of those deals there. And one of the first things you do at a networking meeting, you usually hand out a business card with your contact information. Nowadays it's a website because we're not always congregated in one little room. So that's just some of the steps here that I kind of look at, and then you can break out each one of these. You can break out each one of these into another stair-step analysis as to what you need to do. So that's it for now. I'll break out a little bit more information. All right, everybody, it's Jason again. So we took that last step there where we broke down all of our individual goals here and all the steps needed to take to get to closing notes. Well, let's take a look at the other side of it, which is what I do with the almost exact same step, but what do we write in here to help us make sense of it? And I kind of call this my why bother, or why is that important, or so what. Every step that you need to put on this particular goal sheet, or the goal stair step I call it, you need to have a why. I mean, it doesn't make sense just to make goals if there's no real purpose for each one of those steps. It'll get you distracted if you don't have a good purpose. So what I've got here is the very first thing on this step down here is the website. The website is very important because for me it's a digital business card, a credibility kit of sorts. It does a lot of things that we discussed in that other stair-step goal method. About me is one of them. People want to know who you are, what we do, why you're doing what you're doing, etc. So if you go to my website, you can find that kind of information on there. Facebook. Is this guy a ghost? Is he somebody real, somebody credible, somebody who is actually involved in social media? LinkedIn, same thing. Does he have any experience? Does his LinkedIn profile indicate that he is in this note space? And then you can just keep going up from there. For your mentors, why is that important? Well, can he get the job done if he gets into a pinch, gets into a bind? Can he call someone to help himself out? So these are all steps that go along building your credibility towards this big goal of closing notes over here. And that's one of the, this is kind of how I analyze things here. So showing the deals. What's in it for me? What are the risks and the rewards by doing these deals? And then showing your systems and due diligence. How do I protect the investor? How do you protect me? You got to ask that question as if you were flipping the table and you were the person writing a check. How do you protect the investor's money? And it just goes up from there. I didn't finish any more of this because it's all everyone kind of figures out the rest of this, but that's kind of my thought. All right, everyone, it's Jay again. Hey, it's the end of the day here. It's almost 5 o'clock here in California. I'm just standing here in front of this big window because this is where traffic is. Everyone's headed home for the day, and I'll be out on the road here shortly. But this video that I just created literally was put together exclusively, can't talk, with my iPhone. And there's a set of software here that I'll add at the end. I think it's called Splice. But between Splice and my iPhone, this entire video was created from scratch. I mean, I literally handheld everything. I drew all the graphs and steps out for the goal setting sheet. And this is just a concept to let you guys know how easy it is to get some of your information out there in front of your potential buyers, potential investors, JV partners. It doesn't take a lot of technology. And frankly, it took maybe 30 minutes to learn this Splice video thing. Pretty straightforward stuff. So I hope you guys got a lot out of it. Let me know if there's anything else I can do to help you out. But those are the goals and big picture steps that you ought to start thinking about, and kind of the way that you should start approaching the note business. So all the best. Hit me up on email if you need to reach me. Bye.